Greetings and welcome, everyone. We went 12:01 because Shakti Bottazzi, our special guest today, and I were chatting backstage, and I'm like, oh, it's time to go. Okay, well, nobody's here yet. I'm going to go ahead and introduce Shakti Bottazzi, who is a member of the Mothership Alliance. She's one of our diamond member co-creators. We call it. We have 144 spaces that we are filling with co-creators, and she is one of them. She was introduced to me. She was also in Mount Shasta, but she's coming to us today from Argentina. And so I am so happy to have her. She was when she was in Shasta, I had the opportunity to get to know her and her husband, Stefan, in person better and deeper. And she is a powerful galactic mother. She's a shaman. She is a healer. She is a transmission station. And I will let her show, don't tell, as I always say. And I'm going to bring her in. She is a dear friend and so happy to have her in my realm. I'm going to bring her to yours. What? There she is.
I am so happy to be here playing today.
Yay! Yes, and she likes to play. Anybody that likes to hang with me better like to play because we play, don't we?
Yeah, it is so fun to be with you, sisters, and with all of the people that show up for us, which are part of our tribe, right? Otherwise, they wouldn't be showing up. Replay live, doesn't matter. We're the field wherever and whenever we are.
Yes. So Shakti's been on a journey, and we're going to talk about journeys today in sacred places and spaces, among other things. I'm anxious to hear her interpretation and wisdom on what's happening right now because, hello, everybody, what a week. I mean, you could probably say that every
Even
week.
prior.
Hello, Alia. Hello, Strongheart. Yay, welcome. Okay, Strongheart's sitting over there. She's
Aaliyah, she's a powerful wand maker amongst many other things. So here I am. This wand travels with me along the whole world, just so you know. Cheers to you, Aaliyah.
Yes, Alia also made my wand, which is actually by Zion National Forest right now, being shepherded by one of our members, where I left it there when we did some magical work in Zion. So it wanted to stay there for a little bit, but yes, she channels in and brings through these like amazing, the stuff that she got through and put inside my wand that she didn't even know about me, my lineage, my mission, anything. Same, right? So
same experience. It was
amazing. So we're going to do we'll have to have Alia on for She Speaks as well, because this is what we do. We share our members and what they bring through, and we have just such incredible women and men. We do have a He Speaks for our nights that we do, and it's not limited to our members, but we've been working through our members. And I was having a conversation with Shakti around some of the things she was seeing and some of the things she was doing and where she was being called. And I'm like, we need to do a She Speaks. And I haven't done one in quite a while. And this is like a perfect time. Yeah, Alia came on. We got a little show and tell. This one brought to you by Alia Bolden.
Love it.
So you're in Argentina and you're from Argentina right now. Why don't you tell us about your, first of all, let's back up the truck and talk about, have you introduce yourself in your own words of who you are and now. You can talk about where you came from, because we all came from like normal world, and then we like,
yeah,
what's normal? But would love to have your own introduction of who you are and what you're doing here at this time.
Well, briefly, because people can read about me on my website, but briefly, yes, I am working full time as a medicine woman, as a spiritual teacher since 2017, when I was guided to drop the corporate world, my businesses, and really dedicate full time to this. But I've been on the path of the spiritual awakening for my whole life since I was a little girl. Then I shut it out, like many of us. And then in 2018, through a series of tragical events in my life between 2018 and 2020, no, between the time I was 18 and I was 20, way back, not 2018 and 2020. Time is collapsing, you know. I was guided to start on this path more formally, learn energy healing, learn meditation. This when I was 18, 19. And then life led me to so many masters and so many lessons I've studied with the Incan tradition, with the Mayans, with the Navajos, with Buddhism, with the Chinese Qigong. I'm a practitioner of, I'm teacher of Qigong. You know, I'm a certified coach, but I'm mostly a medicine woman, and I've had so many trainings. There's a list in my website for those people that want to go check on the details, but it's a path of more than 40 years that I've been on. And ever since, through a mystical experience about 15 years ago, where my third eye fully opened, I've been channeling openly and listening to divine guidance. And for the last 10 years, I've been choosing to follow that guidance very, very thoroughly. And I say 10 years because before that, I wanted to follow it, but my own fears didn't let me always follow it. So the willingness was there, but you know, you kind of go and stop and go and stop. And then I finally went like, no, I've had so many proof proofs that it was real, and that when I followed guidance, expansion and magic happened. And so spirit gives you one taste, and then you're like, oh, I can do this, and then you contract again, you know. And so it's been like expansion and contraction. And I can safely say that for the last 5 years, it's been filled with so much magic, even through these turbulent times that we're going about now, right? And you said about how you've been feeling in these weeks, and I'd love to talk about that with you too. I've also been, this year in particular, uh, my husband was just telling me this 2 nights ago. It's like, do you realize in the last 4 months you've been in 4 continents? And I'm like, no, I hadn't realized. You know, I've been in India for like a month, and then I've been in the US in Mount Shasta for a month, and then I was in Italy for 33 days, and I'm going to be here in Argentina for 33 days. Isn't it crazy? It's almost by design, very clearly. It's by design, you know.
Oh, the 33, 33, 333 has been coming in so hot. I saw
Yeah.
Regina Bima just posted this morning. She bought something and it was like 33, 33, you know, and that's been coming through big time. And the Trinity, that's why I was wearing my three pearls today.
Love it.
Yeah, we're going to talk about this, the grid hopping, stirring, what I'm being shown, like stirring the pot.
Oh
Uh,
my gosh, I'm hopping because they're taking me back to the US. Then I'm going to Egypt with a group of people. Then I'm going to Italy again. So, I mean, they're taking me all over the place.
okay, can we talk about divine guidance right now, right here, right
Yes.
now?
Yes.
12:11 Pacific time. And we usually open with sort of like a little moment in prayer, and we didn't do that. So it's
Bring it
12:11.
on.
Yeah, it's 12:11 right now. And as far as
It's
the
like
prayer,
12:12 in a second.
yep. So I just want to hold a little space and container. The people I see on right here, right now, are just beautiful family. So if you just drop in with me and Shakti and just breathe and hold this space for a moment.
Atia kua mo kua I laka I ki I mo ko ai she e ki le ai ko a maka ai ki ai. O ma ko e la ai ke ene ma ko e she a maka I ki a maka a. O loko haai ne ke ma ke I she a maka I laka I talaka a mo ko ai ke a.
Thank you. Thank you. This is how we do. This is how we do. This is why I like working with Shakti. As I always say, I like working with professionals.
They wanted to come through and I kept saying
Yes.
no and they're like
Yes.
yes you have to go through and I'm like no and they're like yes and
Yes.
like okay.
That's why they're like, they told me too, shut up, step back, open the space. So you rolled, we rolled.
I
This is
love
how,
it.
this is how we do. Thank you. Thank you. Yes. When we scheduled this, we were talking about doing it and figuring out what day, what time. And then I was shown this Friday before Mother's Day that it was very potent. It was very powerful. This is the Friday. This is the day of the goddess. We just went from 12-12 to 12-13. The 12 plus 1, also very potent, very powerful. The 13, the number of the goddess. There are no mistakes, especially right now in this divine weaving, in this master divine plan of ascension. So I feel so grateful to be paired up with not only you, but everybody. We've got 7 on here, right? Number of alchemy. Everybody knows we're rolling.
I can read all these awesome names. I know them all. Hello, everybody. So good to be with you all. Thank you for showing up.
Oh, we've got some beautiful mothers on here too. And this is a cleansing and a reconnection to the mother and the father, to the family, to the sisters and brothers, all of this that's happening, all of the ways that we're triggering each other, all of the ways that are, and we're doing it for each other, right? And when you were speaking about your path and all of the things that led you through, and many of us were getting the same thing as you, we reached this threshold where the team was like, okay, all in now. Give up real estate business, give up your marketing stuff. Like, it's all in. It's time. And then we're brought together, and I'm going to bring it back around to what we were talking about with regard to what I'm seeing in the grid and with everybody and their divine assignments. When you were saying that you were doing it in October, I saw, I know Christina Teot is doing one earlier in October. I was seeing a couple other groups saying October, November. I know what I'm being guided to do with an Equinox Alchemy powerful container in September for Equinox. But I'm a pattern watcher. Those who follow me or know me know, like, I see the algorithms and then I ask, right? It's all in the questions. You ask, what's going on? What is this about? What is the arrangement? When in 2017, I was shown that we would be, not just me, but yes, me, but others too, moved around the grids like chess pieces on a chessboard, they said, like chess pieces.
I get the same channeling information all the time in a lot of details about why.
Yes.
Yeah.
And one of the things I'd love to hear your take on this is that I was shown that, and at the time I couldn't even conceive of how that was going to happen, where I was and what I was in and the state I was in, financially, everything.
Oh my God. Yeah.
And within a year and a half, I was all over. I was in Malta. I was in Portugal. I was in London. I was in Egypt. Like, all of it for like 2.5 years. I'm like, here we go. Yeah. Bing, 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 bing. And seeing, I remember in 2020 when I went to Egypt for the first time, landed feet on the ground, 222, right before everything shut down, went with Resonance Science Foundation as a guest faculty. But everyone there, I was seeing everybody coming in like paratroopers, this
Oof.
women's organization, right? Everybody was landing and people were coming from Davos that I knew. It was just like, are you feeling this? I'm feeling this coming in. And they were showing me like a lot of the work before was more repairs or rerouting or things like that. And now what I'm seeing is like, that's all been done. And now we're just lighting it up. Does that make sense? I'd love to
Yeah,
hear
and
what you're getting there.
I'd like to add to that, in fact, yes to everything. And I want to underline one thing and add another one. I want to underline this questioning about, okay, I'm seeing all of this. What's this about? Lately, the question I've been guided to ask, and it's been so, I can't even tell you how many adjectives: beautiful, amazing, awe-inspiring, breakthrough-ing. The question is, let's agree to the term matrix as not the divine matrix, but the programming matrix, the one that is being dismantled. Okay, so I'm shown and I'm guided to ask, what's underneath the matrix? What's underneath? What's below it? What's that reality that was covered, right? So from you couldn't see it. So it's similar to what you asked from a slightly different perspective, but it's the same, right? It's like, what's this that we're seeing? And what I'm being told, yes, it's lighting up, and why we're being guided to be in all these locations, and not just these locations that are famous like Egypt or Hawaii, or these two, okay, Mount Shasta too, yes, but also locations around the world. Just lately, Spirit keeps sending me Bend, Oregon, all over the place. Bend, Oregon, until like 2 days ago, I'm like, okay, I'm listening. I get it. What is it you want to tell me? Because when a place you've like barely heard of suddenly comes through to you from like 10 different people in 48 hours, and you're like, okay, I understand. What are you trying to tell me, right? But what they're saying about this is that each one of us carries in our codes a key. We're part of a key. And when we're guided to go someplace, for example, like Egypt, I will be taking a group. That's because the group in and of itself will act like a whole big key, like a code of unlocking. And we'll be unlocking, on one layer, we'll be unlocking information time capsules that were set there and that we have agreed to open up at a certain time. These codes of light and reprogramming and remembrance that are going to be disclosed through the unlocking are going to, on one level, activate us, the ones physically there, activate the information field that we all access to the information field through our own electromagnetic field that starts in our heart. And then we, the ones that are carrying these codes because we were physically there, are going to be impacting wherever we're taking next: families, communities, friends, wherever, places, right? So it's all those layers that are going to happen. And it is important in locations that are well known, and Egypt clearly is a place where since 2020, with all the portals, has been calling the troops. This year I've seen so many people taking groups. It's clearly, and beyond myself, that I'm being guided to do it. It's clearly a key location, and we can talk a whole program about Egypt only, but we know. But just also more normal locations. And for example, I'm here in Argentina. Yes, I'm born and raised here. My blood, my lineage is 100% from the old continent. From my mother's side, generations upon generations of Italian. And from my father's side, Turkey, Greece, and Italian. So very old civilizations, right, from the old world. But my soul chose to be born in America. And I now have understood how that has to do with my remembrance as a soul of all the times I was a medicine woman, because I carry that in this lifetime a lot. I have mastery of the elements. I'm very shamanic in the work I do. I'm a medicine woman, more aligned with that kind of lineage of the Andean or the Rockies, or, the Native Americans, more than, even though I've studied from the Eastern traditions years and years as well. But it's more about the soul's mission, right? And then, of course, we put it all together. But just to conclude this thought, I've been brought to Argentina this time around. I have a 97-year-old mom, so I keep coming year upon year to visit her. And every time I come, it has been shown to me the importance of Pachamama and our roots and grounding. And Argentina almost like expands that clarity for me and that information. And this time around, I was guided to hold two big events. One full day event, which I held on the last full moon, and then we can take that into the conversation of what's happening right now. And the other one is going to be a 4-day event in a sacred mountain, which Spirit has shown me. It's like a twin sister to Mount Shasta. It's a mountain all done of clear quartz and white quartz on the Andean side. And I'm taking a group for 4 days to that location from the 1st to the 4th of June. And that's the other full moon. It's called the full moon of humanity. It's the 6th moon of this cycle. It's going to be very important. And it's all about healing the earth. Yeah, healing Pachamama. We'll be working with the golden rays and the pink rays and many other things, but I don't expect any of you to be able to come to that group. But the reason I'm mentioning it is because we're going to be doing work. It's a group of 15 people currently, and we're going to be doing work that is going to benefit all of humanity, for what we were saying about going to certain locations and doing certain work that activates codes for everybody. I was shown 7 years ago that I was going to go there with a friend of mine who's also a spiritual teacher. And we both got the memo 2 months ago saying, yeah, we got the memo saying, hey, girls, you need to get together and do this when Shakti comes to Argentina the next time. And I called her and she's like, oh, I was waiting for your call. And I'm like, yeah, this and this and that. And it's like, absolutely. And these are the dates. Yes, they are. It was amazing, right? And it's, yeah. So just more confirmation of how it works. And then, that is a sacred land. But the event I had last Saturday was here in Buenos Aires, in this big city. It wasn't in any particular sacred location, but here was important. The people that came are people that are in the city, that are struggling with the city energetics and the grid. And so they all had incredible healing. And they said how important it was to have that space within the city, right? Because it's not always bliss, right? Where we are.
Yes. So much in that. So much to unpack. Yes, on the keys. I wanted to touch on that because anyone who knows me knows that I will likely turn it back to technology. The technology of the keys, as I'm shown, and this is some we've discussed before too, is people understanding Christos Templar, not thinking of the Killing for Christ, right, guys, in the Middle Ages.
No.
Right. Let's clarify that. In the Templars, which you may be one watching, we are the family of light that they call them the Templaric grids. The grids of Gaia are often called the Templaric grids. There are grids in the astrals. There are grids everywhere. They're magnetic. They are electric. These are all things that we weave with. And we may be doing grid work in some small town in Wisconsin, going to our grandmother's birthday party that we have no idea, nor do we even need to know.
Yeah.
But what you said is for people to understand, like, right, so we hold a magnetic resonance. We hold keys in our gene keys, in our magnetics. That's why we feel that way sometimes with people. It's immediate, boom, it's on, the conversation's on, we get down to business, we don't even need to pick up where we left off, whatever, immediate resonance, or immediate, just like a magnet pushing away, like no. And they show me too, just like in machines, there are switches, and the switches literally work with magnets. So we go over this spot, and we are a magnet, it has a magnet, and it flips that switch.
Oh my gosh, I see that too. It's like click, click, click,
Yes.
click, 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 click. And so we are those magnets. And that's why when we're a group, we're all unlocking that.
Yes. They also show me when I was receiving like the big, I guess you said your third eye completely open, whatever. It was 2014, 15. I talk about it a lot because that was when I received what I would say is like the bulk of the information that I'm still just unpacking file pages from and
Yes.
from. And then I get more info, but it was like the big dump, you know, and shown some of what's happening right now, what was coming, but also about, they said, just like a military, the military for the bomb, right? They have multiple keys at one time, and they're all turned at one time. And different people hold
for safety.
For safety.
Yes, totally.
Right? So we are orchestrating this, us as key holders, all turning them at the same time. The other thing I'm being shown, especially like with what you're doing and how we're doing it, is like, okay, you go to Egypt. Like I went to Egypt twice, and that's a key spot, but it's not just about that spot. Like they show me us, we go out, we get more data, we change as we go to each place.
Yes.
It's a video game, guys. It's a video game. Then you come back, you are changed, it is changed. We go back to the motherland, flip that switch, go back out on wherever we're being guided to go, come back, boo, boo, boo. And it's not all about Egypt, right? I'm wondering, is Bend close to Mount Hood?
Oh, it is. Yeah, right there.
That's it. That's why.
Yeah.
They were showing, I was just up there and going through and was having a conversation with Valerie Elster. It's a Stargate. So I did a few years ago, was being shown and did some work on Mount Rainier. And now it looks like Hood is percolating. So that makes perfect sense why. And when I said Mount Hood, when you were saying Bend.
I need to look at how far it is. It is clearly in the area. I don't know if it's 1 hour away.
I know it's near, but I'm like, how near is that to Hood? Because they keep showing me Hood.
Yeah. Hood is more Columbia River, about an hour or two east from Portland, I think. But I don't quote me. I need to
went through there.
Yeah.
I just went through there.
Yeah.
But amazing. Isn't this all amazing?
It is fantastic. I love it. I truly feel it's a very magical time, albeit challenging.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, talk about that.
Shall we?
I would love.
Shall we talk about
seeing what's happening?
Yeah.
And cleansing.
Yeah.
What are you getting with what's happening right now?
Yeah, I wanted to address that because in the event I did last Saturday, I was lucky enough to do it with this friend of mine who's a cosmic astrologer. I mean, astrologers do the cosmos, but she is like cosmic in terms of reading deeper layers. And she gave it was amazing for me because what the masters were telling me without me understanding the planets. I mean, I understand astrology, but it's a hobby, right? I'm not a professional astrologer. She justified, I even said to her, well, they're telling me this and that. And she's like, oh, that's because this planet or that planet. It was amazing to have the explanation of what's happening, right? But what I can relate, which I know will be very clear for everybody to grasp, is that this 2023, I'm going to go in and out, okay, as I weave the information for everybody to grasp it. Started with a new moon in Aries at 0 degree. What that means is that every year a new 360 degree cycle of the zodiac starts with Aries, but the new moon in Aries is not necessarily always at 0 degree. There's 30 degrees per zodiac sign. 30 times 12 is 360, right? So when you have a new moon at 0, we had 2 new moons of Aries, because within 30 degrees, which is 1 day each, more or less, a little bit less, we were able to fit two new moons of Aries. Okay, Aries is a beginner, a launcher, a rebirther, is an initiator. And we had a new moon at 0 degrees, which was a big initiation, piggybacking, you mentioned the equinox, piggybacking the equinox. It was a huge portal, 2021. And then we had the second new moon with an eclipse, solar eclipse. So, huge activation of beginnings and releasing of the shadow and letting go of the past and all of that theme. Okay, that was April 20th. Then we've had this full moon of last Saturday and Friday, which was another eclipse, a lunar eclipse this time. And both these eclipses, the solar eclipse and this lunar eclipse, the solar eclipse was ending a 2-year cycle of eclipses, and this lunar eclipse was ending a 20-year cycle of eclipses with the moon in Scorpio. And Scorpio is all of the depths of the sea and the emotional world. And there were also an overlapping of planets that are the activation of the new world and the expansion of that, and at the same time some like Mercury retrograde, putting the big question marks into how to communicate that information. But the gist of this full moon that just passed was yet again another birth and rebirth cycle. So here we go. We just started, right, the new cycle on the 20th of in March, 21st of March. We've had 21st of April, not even in 6 weeks, right? Am I correct? 6 weeks, all of April? Yeah. And we already had 3 activations of death and rebirth. And here's the thing, 2023 will continue to be a continuing birthing and rebirthing. And the reason why is because as humans, it is not as easy for us to take a huge quantum leap from where we are to where we need to be for next year, because to release all of that in one fell swoop would be too much. And so what they're giving us is these keys, these openings, these portals, these activations, so that every month or every so often, 20 days, whatever, here we go, another one. And it's not just the full moon, the new moon, it's all the other planets. It's really, and the vortexes and the overlapping of portals. It's like a powerful cycle. This year will be a cycle of death cycles and rebirths, so that we can leap and leap and leap and leap higher and higher in leaps that we can manage and we can integrate and we can absorb emotionally.
Yes, she says as she takes her microphone out.
She speaks.
She speaks. As you know, I went through a death and rebirth ceremony last year and crossed over from Robin Davis to One Divine. And one of the pieces was to do with this, that they showed me that it was like as an avatar for death and rebirth, for what humanity would be experiencing, to like sparking that off and embodying that. And too, you changed your name and you have that feeling of that energetic resonance when somebody calls you Valerie, right?
Totally.
Facebook won't let me change my name. They've got me on restrictions for whatever. And I'm tuning in too. Like, I think I'm being guided to like do it legally. And I was like, whoa, part of me, like, for those, who know me, like when I got guided to do this, it pushed every single button for me. Like I had stuff in my head, like, oh, they changed their name to like Daisy Sunflower, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. I'm like, seriously? I was always like, Robin Davis, that's a great name. That's like a book writer name. That's the, why would I change that name? And now when I hear it feels that was, when that other piece dropped in, the other thing that's
I
happening
totally
right
get
in the death and rebirth that's happening for everybody is a rebirth of our entire self, all of the pieces. And that was what the one is about, right? All of our fragments and pieces and lifetimes and skills and wisdom and everything being accessible to us and making up who we are now in this now moment. And when I said the sacred yes, more of the birth came in, pieces of my one were dropping in, and I was seeing her. I'd seen her in glimpses before, but it was like, whoa. It was like Robin took a knee, she's tired, she did her job, and the rest of her is coming in for this next leg of the race.
Wow.
And this is what I feel is happening for all of us, especially the ones who are the workers on this, mother's ground crew, as I call them, right, on this path. But it is so powerful. What I didn't anticipate was the death part. After I did it, the dying, those pieces of myself that were dying, of her dying, and the grieving and the grief. And it feels right now, I know Deb Westby said, deeply challenging right now. I had a moment that I shared with my sister this week and my son, some things in my life, people who somebody passed, took their own life, and other things in my life. You might find in your life right now big things happening that, as I'm shown, like kind of pop the cork for you, because we need this grief to come out. We need these emotions to come out, right? And I went under the grandmother tree and I cried in a way that felt like a child. When a child is so tired or so upset or so whatever, like it was like
Deep.
that full face, like things dripping, ugly face cry, like deep, just gave it to the earth and mother and all of that. And being encouraged to do that. And I'm feeling guided just to speak it to, like, if you're feeling that or you're having that, just like fully, we are being asked to let those floodgates open, let the snot drip from your face, let it all, like,
it's healing.
So
it's healing
massive.
To allow the waters to run.
So massive.
Yeah.
And
about that, I'd like to interject for a second, because I was just guided. I was guided to close a 21-year cycle in Italy. I moved to Italy in 2002, and I was in Italy dismantling my house, my things, and giving away, throwing away, passing to my married son, keeping for my other son, like literally, dismantling a 21-year life over there. And as I was touching every element, as I was moving through it, I had so much grief. That's why I want to share that with you. And it was grief and joy at the same time. It was freedom and liberation, and knowing that I was doing exactly the right thing. And at the end of the day, I was exhausting and happy. And then the next day I was holding something else, and it would surprise me with a vengeance, the grief and the pain and letting go. And I just allowed myself to go through that cocktail shaker,
Mm-hmm.
But the information was, it's allow it, because just like you were saying, it's just cleansing, clearing, healing. The flow is what makes you move through it with grace. Allowing it, the flow.
Yes. And this is a letting go too, like drag or, let go or be dragged. That keeps coming up. Let go or be dragged. And we're experiencing that with the mothership, that our platform we were using to communicate was not working. There were changes happening on it that made it not work even more. And we
Yeah.
just we had a meeting this week and had to just make a decision to just cut and run, no matter how much
Wow.
invested there. And you'll hear about that. But like just a few of us got on this other space, and immediately the coherence field, and everyone guided to do another one of these like stop and start. It's been a breakthrough, and it has mirrored what's happening in the collective, right?
Yes.
Moving to a new operating system. So doing that symbolically in the physical, but when the old one isn't working anymore, you can tell nothing's working anymore. The coherence field isn't there. Nobody can communicate. It's like it's just, and then it gets to a point.
Nothing rolls. Nothing rolls.
Yes. 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 So if you're feeling that in your life, cut it, like try another thing, because we try to hang on to what's familiar because it's easy. It's like, okay, I've invested all of this time in this home to decorate it in this way or whatever, and these things. And I've done like literally had trees. Everybody knows me. I've had this whole tree thing. Like trees were taken out in my home that was sold, like completely
I
grazed.
remember that.
And I left, and I was shown to be untethered were the words that came. Be untethered.
Yes.
So we're
yes.
being
Yes.
now, be
For
untethered.
me, it was attachment, dismantling, releasing of the attachment, untethering. It's all the same. I love it.
Yeah, and sometimes, like, I don't know about you guys, but I can be stubborn, and wanting to stay. And another one, I was a situation I was still staying in that they'd been guiding me to get out of, and I wasn't moving it. Literally, Santa Ana wind like took out my car. So you're like, I'm like, okay, I get it. You don't have to do, like, you don't have to ruin my car. I'm moving. I'm letting go. Yeah, it's good. But seriously, you will be that the tree will come down on your car if you're not, you know what I mean? Like moving to where for your highest expression, for the reason that we came here, right? I love at the guidance and move with it. It's something I very much admire.
Yeah. No, I'd like to offer metaphor, which is so telling. And it's, when you are in the water and the waters there's a the river is flowing fast, and you're trying to hold to the pylon of the the dock, and the waters are smashing you against the pylon, and you're getting broken bones from holding up. And if you would just let go and allow yourself to go to the center of the river and wade the waters as the waters take you, you're fine.
Yep.
And that's that is such a real metaphor for me, because that's the Santa Ana wind smashing your car is you holding to the pylon, and the water's just like right smashing you against the pylons. And it's such a real thing of the life that's happening now, because so much is changing for those of us that are awakened and in the awakening path. We see it, right? And we may struggle with our humanity, like you said, Robin, like you didn't want to let it go. We're humans. We do have that emotional attachment. We do have our own ideas, and sometimes we cannot fully listen to the guidance, even though we want to, right? But
like, I'm getting there. I am. I'm making some moves. They're like,
yeah. No, and that's for everybody, for me too. That's what I'm saying. Like, we want to, and not always we're able to, but all the people that are on earth are going through this, and the large majority who is not awakening, they're just being smacked, and they don't know what's happening, or what hit them, right? We have the luck to have communities like this one, like Mothership Alliance, like the Awakened Path, which is the community I do, and the sisterhoods of wherever we go, that we have that connection we have. And because of that, we can have these conversations and go like, oh yeah, maybe I'm holding too long, I need to let go, or but there's people that don't have an idea of what's hitting them, and they're just struggling. And I see it even in people I love, that they're just not ready to listen.
Yeah.
It pains me, but it's real. You see it. It's
But
out
they
there.
get to a point. They will get to a point, and that, and you see it when they start getting ready, like things that they were like, oh yeah, whatever, and then it's like, what was that stone you were using? Like what is this
I
smudge?
love
Like you
that.
like the thing to clear what? But I was being reminded as you were talking to bring up what I saw that morning, that my car, what that happened with
Oh
the
yeah.
winds. That morning I walked out. It was just weird from the beginning. I know it's not my first rodeo, right? I know, like, I'm like paying attention because the energy was straight. I woke up, it was like really early, like 7:30 or 8 in the morning, and they were behind my Airbnb with a jackhammer breaking up cement. And I looked out the window and I saw the guy who was doing it, and he's got a black shirt on with a rose on it. And I knew, and it was Dark Mother, and they showed me it was coming, Dark Mother.
Wow.
And that they said, right, the foundations are being broken up now.
Ooh, I'm feeling that.
Right. So this is where we're at, right? And this is the program matrix versus what I call, right? Yeah, the matrix. That's why I always say the mother trick, the divine organic matrix.
Wow.
Yeah. So they wanted me to bring that through the foundations.
Are being broken. Yes, totally. Totally. I
If
hear
you
since
hold
I was
on,
in,
like, good luck.
yeah, since I was in India, the word that spirit keeps giving me for my own resonance is dismantling. You know how you dismantling a house and you take the windows and you take the doors and you take away what's salvageable before they kind of like send the bomb to it, and it's kind of that we everything is being dismantled because it's the old program. We have to
Right.
take the old program out so that we can see what's underneath the matrix, right? What I was saying. And it's a magical time, but challenging. Again, I can't, I find it super, I find it an adventure worth living with a lot of magic, and at the same time, I am challenged by it.
Yeah.
But it is, I can see why the stretch is there, and personally I'm just going to allow the stretch, and yes, it's freaking scary at times, but then big openings happen continuously, and the more it happens to you, the more you trust more, because now you've done it once, twice, three times, right? It's easier to trust the more you do it, right? That's for
Yes.
everybody, that
Yes. Yes.
thing. It's like
100%.
you try with a small thing, and then it happens, and it's like, oh, maybe I could try this one too, and then it happens, and so it just expands your ability to trust and leap bigger leaps.
Well, I always say I get angel cookies. Like, I'll get a blessing of some sort, and it's
I
angel,
love
right?
cookies.
So it's these carrots that they keep me to come out of my comfort
Yeah.
zone. Come, like, clearly I've left it, but they still keep us going. Like that comfort zone, now you get another comfort zone. And this, right? And until we're finally in just like, there's no resistance, full faith. We're being asked to be in full faith and flow. It's part of the background here. Full flow, like golden Christos light. We follow that flow and follow. I'm really curious. Let's turn it back to Egypt, because we're getting back to the end of the hour, and I wanted to talk about
Yeah.
that. I want to talk, like, I'm seeing like all of these places that you've been, all of these things that you've done, these activations, these grid spots, these now coming back. When was the last time you were in Egypt?
Never in another lifetime. I have 3
Wait,
lifetimes
what?
I know of.
You guys, this what? I did not know this was your first.
Yeah, but
Oh,
it's like I have so much remembrance of Egypt. I remember my lifetimes with such detail for years now, not for now. And it's like I'm going home. I know exactly where I'm going. I know where. And speaking of Egypt, I was called to do it in the dates I'm doing it from October 24th to November 7th, because Spirit asked me to be in the temple of Komombo, which is the temple of shadow and light, for the
Twin
lunar
temples,
eclipse.
guys.
And it's in the lunar eclipse, which is in that area of the world. In Cairo, we'll be able to see the lunar, well, Cairo or that region. I mean, Komombo is further south. But and then on 11/1, on the portal of 111, I've been working with that portal for years. And even though I've been in Italy, Spirit kept bringing me to Mount Shasta to do activations of the 111 portal in Shasta, even when I wasn't living there. Last year was huge, the activation that happened, and I was there. I had a 5-day retreat there. And this time they said, you have to be in Egypt, and you have to be in the Hathor temple working with the mother goddess, the goddess mother, mother of Isis, Mary Magdalene, on that day, because it's going to be a humongous healing. And I know, and they've shown me, and the women and men who have already signed up, everybody's going to be channeling, not just me. Like, I'm obviously the opener of that, and I'm doing this trip with a dear friend and soul sister. Her name is Larissa Riley, and she has a business. She's a tourist agent, and she has a business called Awakened Heart Journeys, and she does spiritual journeys. So she's like the practical side as well of the business of this trip combo. And she's like a counterpoint for me energetically. And then I've been shown how the women and men that are going to be there are going to be, it is going to be like a symphony, and yeah.
Okay, that's why I asked. 21, that's when I was there in Egypt. Okay, those dates. I left on the 31st to Portugal, but Komombo was the last temple we went to.
It's so powerful.
I did a little stash, a little rose quartz. There it is, out in the public. There had some goddesses do a little distraction because the guards were on us. Did some dancing in there because they don't want you praying, but they don't know. Dance is prayer. Dance is prayer. And there is I'm feeling to note too, a like crocodile alligator museum.
Well,
right?
Because that's the god, the crocodile god. Yeah, that passes you. He passes you from this world into the other world and helps you pass through the darkness.
Oh my God. You're reminding me too. That was the night. That was one of our last nights in Egypt. We went to Komombo, and that was a trip with Robert Edward Grant. That was my second trip there, and both of them were, but anyway, not resonance. And we held, as I was guided, close to midnight, a water ceremony on the boat, on the Nile, on the top.
Oh, yes.
Everyone. And it was after that evening of Komombo. So you guys, if you are feeling called to go to Egypt, I know that this trip, your trip, I haven't gotten any memos, as you would say, yet. But I don't know. I know that there are certain other places that are on my bucket list that I'm supposed to go. At some point, I'm supposed to go to Scotland, but like, am I going back to Egypt? You guys, Spirit will say, third time's a charm. Third time's a charm.
Yeah.
And they're like emphasis on charm. And they're like, look up charm. It's a spell, right? Third time.
Yes, totally.
So I'm sure that there is a third. Maybe this is the one. I don't know. We'll see.
You mentioned how the guards were there around you. We have 4 private tickets to enter with a group and do our own thing alone in there. Yeah, one in Komombo, one is there.
Oh, awesome! Because
4 in the whole of Egypt.
Because I did. Yeah, we did. We had private in the Great Pyramid and a couple other places, but Kamumbo was not a private visit. And it was like, that one was, they were the most intense at Kamumbo than any other. I was really surprised, but it was big. And I like, there were, like you said, you create the container. And that's what I say, you know, I get guided to do, you get guided to do. We create containers, and then whoever is magnetically drawn to that is supposed
I know.
they know in their hearts without a doubt, oh yeah, I'm supposed to be there.
I'm very clear about that and trusting that. And the people who have come so far are all people that say, oh my gosh, I felt it. And the other day, one of the women said, I need some questions. And we were on a call, and we were on a call on the moment of the eclipse on Friday, and suddenly it was the time of the eclipse here in Argentina, 2:22 p.m. And I said, you know, it's the eclipse. Let's close our eyes for a few moments. So for 6 minutes, I was guided to say some things. And she says, I was given a golden key. I know it's the key I need to use in Egypt. It's a yes. It was amazing. You know, it was like, oh my gosh, what confirmation, you know?
Yes.
You've got to love it.
Here just went. Alex is on from Greece, and he is one of our Blue Rose Nights.
I love the key.
Yeah, and he and I met in Egypt. He was there for that. He said, I'm close, and I feel I have to go a third time. Yeah.
And, you know, it's men and women, because to heal the divine feminine, we need to be together. It's not just women, you know, we need to be men and women.
And
it's
this
both.
night,
I'm calling in both.
Hold on.
Yeah.
We went, we were like arm in arm walking down and he got it, was the birth canal at the Osirian.
Wow.
Behind.
Yes.
Oh.
Ooh, shoo, 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 shoo.
Oh. So if you're, I love it. Strongheart put the key, and I was seeing that key from the temple. Like, there's this one temple where you could take pictures with the big Ankh key, and it's a gold key. And I have pictures with that, and I always seal the deal on every place I go with a. I have one with that key.
I love it.
Yeah. So if you look in the comments, I pasted the Awaken Path information about that trip. I know it's going to be like, I'm feeling it just talking to you, like ending this up, aren't you?
Yes, I can feel you. My gosh. Yes.
Wow. So it is 1:00 now. I'm being guided to hold just another moment, just to marinate what was spoken here for all of it. Thank you everyone for joining us, whether you join in the future or you're here now. This family, the family, we hold the keys, and they only work when we combine them together in combination.
Yes. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Oh my goodness. Thank you for inviting me to be here, One Divine. Thank you for this space to call in a higher vibration for everybody. Thank you to all of you for being here. Thank you to all the guides that accompany us every time we get together. It is so beautiful. My heart is full, and I'm so appreciative of this time to be with you all and to be with you, One Divine. So thank you.
Thank you. And on behalf of the Mother and the Mothership Alliance, which we serve, the Mother, the Great Mother, and the family, I'm feeling her presence very, very strongly. Before in the US, it is Mother's Day on Sunday, and it is just every piece, every thing I'm being guided to do or go and move toward is all around the family. and we need to keep strong right now. And one of the things that came through was just like a cheerleader, like, we can do this. We can do this. It might be excruciating at times, but we can do
can, yes.
have
Yes,
each
we
other.
can.
Many hands make a lighter load. Strong
Yeah,
heart.
totally. Totally. Yeah.
Thank you. So much love to everybody out there on this path, just entering or in it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And for now.